What's up, everybody? Finch here, and welcome to my new video series, Roll Call, where I take a look at team fights and more specifically what the job is of each role within that team fight. It's not so much breaking down, why X or Y happened, but instead kind of looking at this is what your job should be during a fight, during an objective siege, yada, yada, yada. And I thought I would do it by looking at the roles in particular. That way you know what to do in your own games. So that's just me, Finch, helping you out. Very fortunate, right? Maybe. We'll see if I know as much as maybe that I think I do. But I'm taking a look here at Team Rival going up against Mouse Sports. This is where Rival's about 2.5k gold in the lead. They're trying to force this fight at the Fire Giant to see if they can get Mouse to overcommit and then find an easy target. So let's take a look through. We're gonna keep our eyes on the solo laners here first. We're gonna go through everybody, but let's start with what Nika and Deathwalker do here in this fight. Now, Deathwalker is just helping to do damage here, but the important move that starts this one off is Nika. Nika is the tankiest character on his team. Level 13 is Hi-Rez right now. The Geb is really not that tanky. Actually, he's been poked out a little bit already too. So it's Nika that comes to check, see where the Fire Giant is. Do we need to all in this a little bit more desperately? Nika goes to collect that information. Gonna pay some health to do it, but that's the right call. Now, Deathwalker is going to also be at the front of this for his team. He's the same idea, the frontliner for Team Rival. They try to get the setup on Nika, and he's got to abort. Nika did his job. We know they're on Fire Giant. We've got them to pull off of it for now, but it cost me like 70% of my HP. So Nika's got to get out of there. So if you're on the defending team in that situation and you're the solo laner, you probably want to be the one that's out in front, especially if this is the situation where you're relatively even with your opponent and you're tanky compared to the damage they're doing. To be able to check what's going on. You still want your teammates nearby like what Nika had. He didn't go in 100% alone, but he was first, and now he's getting back out that they have the information. He's recognized that Rival have stopped committing, so he doesn't need to go in and try and Stygian Torment or anything else. He got the information, now he's leaving. So turn our eyes towards Deathwalker. Excuse me there. Deathwalker now is going to be the one in the front line for his team, and he's got a call to make. Big Man Ting's Jermaine are on the left, the two carries, but Dar is the one with the apples on. Nika's already low. That's toward the lower health targets if he goes right. So now Deathwalker's being the initiator for the team. He's the one that wants to go in and start this fight. Let's see how he does it. He uses Dazzling Offensive, and I think that might have been more to avoid getting stunned by the bombs than anything else, really. But he tries to go in on Hi-Rez, who still has Cataclysm available, and really gets controlled very, very well. So Deathwalker goes in on the Geb, which probably not the best call in that situation, and he gets actually punished very heavily for it. And I love this. Nika now has recognized Deathwalker's made a mistake here in this fight as his solo laner. What you would have preferred is Deathwalker with this same situation. And I believe it was right here where Deathwalker makes the choice to come over to the left maybe and control these carries, right? He's got calls right here with him too. Hi-Rez and Nika are poked out. They can't afford to exactly walk in. Maybe instead of trying to all in the Geb here, he has a chance to Dazzling Offensive and force Jermaine and Big Man Tinks to be more defensive. They both have Aegis beads available. Force those out. You know, that's a judgment call. He thinks they have enough burst in their head enough that they can blow up this Geb, but as you see, that didn't quite work for him here because Tings does such a good job helping to control him. And look at Nika hovering. Nika's not backing yet. I know he's at like 30, 35% HP. He's not the strongest, but Nika still has Teleport. Nika still has Blink. Nika still has his ultimate. There's a lot of tools that this team needs, that Mouse needs in this fight he hasn't used yet. So he's sticking around and biding his time. Yeah, Deathwalker just kind of gets outplayed here by this Mouse team comp really, and ends up getting punished. Good shots from Jermaine, and it's just all too easy. Now Nika is providing the Stygian Torment to just help confirm the kill. And now things have switched. It's a 5v4. Mouse are now the aggressors. If we're looking at solo laners, Deathwalker's out. Doesn't really matter what he thinks so much anymore. What he's doing. Nika now is in the driver's seat for Mouse Sports. And he's going to continue to aggress, and they realize because of work that Cherry has been doing that there's actually some low health targets on the left side. So Nika following up with his Hunter, who's made the call to go in aggressive. I said shots from Vote earlier. I'm definitely wrong on that. Jermaine is on the Shibalanke. Let's follow with Nika here. Nika wants to try and come help Cheerio, who's low health, gets there too late, jumps in to confirm the kill on Wolfie. Cheerio's already done that. Now Nika has jumped when he probably did not need to. But you can see what the decision making was. Jumping to confirm the kill on Wolfie and trying to make sure it spreads. Definitely didn't need to, and Vote just turns and burns him, so Nika shouldn't have jumped in there. That was a mistake from Nika, and I think he's going to die and get punished for that. And he does. So that's it from our two solo laners. They're both dead, both overcommitted probably, but I think Nika might have played that fight a little bit better until he jumped into his death. All right, so let's head back to the beginning of the fight. And this time, let's follow along with what our hunters do. All right, so Vote and Jermaine, both already in good spots. Jermaine is right there hugging Dardes. He's at the range where he can find auto attacks and still be safe. He might be a little bit too far forward, actually, Jermaine here, but the good stun from Big Maintains kind of bails him out, so it's okay. Just barely avoids that apple. Probably a little bit too far forward. Should have been a bit further behind Dardes, but in the end, it's okay. But you get the idea. Jermaine's trying to be near his support who can peel for him, while also being in that auto attack range so he can throw in abilities, especially at a choke point like this where he knows that they have to come through. Jermaine, all in all, pretty good positioning, maybe just a little bit too far forward. Vote hadn't quite had a chance to be involved just yet, but he's coming along on the right side behind Ice, so Ice can absorb a little bit before, and he can safely do autos. Plus, he's got the wall, keeping him safe. He's very safe over here on this right-hand side, so I think this is strong from Vote. It means that he'll be impactful a little bit later than Jermaine, but almost 100% safe. And I like this from Jermaine. When he recognizes that Collis and Wolfie get attacked by Cheerio, they're getting pulled back in, he's free to cast now. It's all in on Dardes. That's where Deathwalker and Ice are looking. Collis and Wolfie have to defend up against Cheerio, so Jermaine is aware that he's free to just start putting in autos, but he has to pick. And he wants to come in towards Collis and Wolfie, try and get rid of this mage early on. I like this call. Poison darts really only hit on the Collis. And keep remember, looking at both these hunters, Vote has not really moved in too far. He's at max auto range over here on the right-hand side. Max auto range is where he's at. And I like this positioning from him. He could probably come a little bit further forward and still be okay in all honesty, but he doesn't have anyone to peel from. No one else is around. Ice has gone in on Jermaine, so Vote's like, hey, I'm at full HP. I'm not trying to get hurt, but I want to still be committing auto. So this is very cautious positioning from Vote right now, as Jermaine's going to continue to put in damage. But now Jermaine has caught the attention of Ice baby, so he's trying to retreat. Vote goes up for snipes. That's safe. Wait for him to help out with the team. Jermaine goes in aggressive here, though. Gets that shot on the Deathwalker, who we talked about earlier. Overcommits onto Dardes. So Jermaine putting damage into Wolfie. Ice Baby's Will turns towards Deathwalker. Now comes right on back. This has been perfect so far from Jermaine, but this is where Jermaine just has to Jermaine, man. This is what this guy does. They love to play aggressive. So he dashes in to try and kill Wolfie. It's close, but it's not enough. Has to use Aegis now to reposition. Let's go back and check on what Vote did there as well. Here, he went up for snipes. The problem is, while Vote was sniping, they lose Deathwalker, so the whole complexion of the fight has changed, and Vote's got to reposition and retreat. So Vote's on the retreat right now, recognizes Cheerio's low, so goes for some shots. Collis gets that done. And Vote's kind of is stuck in no man's land. This is not where Vote wants to be, surrounded by 4 members. Jermaine, though, continues to be the target from Ice Baby on the left-hand side. Should not have dashed in there for more damage. Ends up trading his life away. Vote has to roll out and does make it away successfully. So that's what our hunters were trying to do during that fight. And the idea is to be near your supports, try and be at that max auto range like we saw Vote. He actually punishes Nika. Great play from Vote. And try to make sure that you're doing damage onto the carries if you can, but if not, you're the hunter. Do damage to who's in front of you. Not like with mages with their big ultimates, not like with warriors who want to, or your soul engines who want to try and harass the back line. Hunters can kind of just attack whoever's in front of them with their autos. Just shred them, whoever's in front of you. All right, let's head back one more time. And this time we want to watch the junglers. I think that's the most interesting decision making between these two, is the soul laners and the junglers. So we'll start there. So we'll follow along with what Ice and Cheerio do. And very early on, Cheerio has diverged away from the rest of the squad, right? Cheerio's way over here on the left. Ice Baby's with the squad. Now, Ice has made a similar call. He's not going into this choke point with everyone else. He's still lurking off to the side. So they're almost doing the exact same thing. This is kind of what you want to do if you're the assassin. Remember how I said hunters can kind of just shoot who's in front of them? Not the case for everybody else. Assassins want the squishies in the back. It's kind of your job to take them out of the fight early, even means your life. Blow them up. That's kind of your job. So look for them in the backside. And I think that's what Ice and Cheerio are both doing here. Now, Ice recognizes that Deathwalker wants to go in on Dardes, but that's not who Ice wants. Cheerio also blinks in on Wolfie. This is a great play because I talked about this. Wolfie, Deathwalker goes in, he's not peeling. No Ice, no vote. It's just Collis. And I don't even think that Cheerio saw him for I'm not 100% sure Cheerio can see from there. So Cheerio goes in on the mage in the back line, tries to get rid of this big Discordia damage, who's the second biggest damage dealer on his team right now. Cheerio is going to commit to this, and we'll come back and see what Isis is doing. Ambushes in. He wants Wolfie dead, and this is awareness of the fight. It's still just Collis and Wolfie. I think that Cheerio can still get away with this for now because of how much chaos there is. You want to get lost in the fight if you're an assassin, and Cheerio's done that. Now, though, there might be a little bit too much attention coming his way. Ice has turned back too, but Cheerio's not giving it up, going for the auto attacks, and not until he's absolutely forced to is he going to retreat. He never retreats. Cheerio goes until he dies. All right, that's one way to do it. But you get the idea. I think Cheerio's idea was wrong. Maybe overcommitted a little bit onto Wolfie there, but he'd already used the ambush and the Deathbane aggressively. So once he made those two calls, he kind of had to make that. He kind of just had to keep auto attacking. So let's go back and check Ice because Ice made a great decision here in this fight. So right now, Jermaine's essentially free casting because of where Deathwalker went and because of Cheerio's aggression. So Ice sashes max range onto Jermaine, and he's going to try and slow him down for a little bit. He's going for the enemy Hunter. That's their second leading damage dealer who's causing a lot of damage right now. But Ice kind of gets punished, has to retreat, but he knows who his target is. Even now, he's healing, he's staying local, gets a couple shots into Cheerio, but doesn't stay distracted. When Jermaine dashes in aggressively, Ice switches targets instantly, and he's going to keep chasing down Jermaine. Sash in and get that kill. So once you know who the carry is that your team wants to get rid of, focus them if you're the jungler. Ice Baby should just be kind of on the retreat path here. I think he's basically done contributing to this fight. It looks like that. It looks like he is. All right, so we just have the mages and the support left to look at. We looked at Deathwalker and Nika, Cheerio, Ice, Vote, and Jermaine already. So let's take a look at what Collis and Dardes look to do here in this fight. Long fight. All right, so this is still, and support I think is one of the tougher ones because you have to switch between peel and initiate for your team, especially if your Collis playing this Athena because her initiate is so strong. And that means you got to read the team fight and realize what it is your team needs. In this situation, they're the aggressors, so Collis is part of the initiation with Deathwalker. He's not sitting back by the carries looking to peel. He's trying to lock down Nika. Problem is they get hit by big man teams with a great two-man stun, so there is no taunt. Nika can jump away. That's actually a huge deal. It's kind of my Wolfie misses the ult. But Collis continues here with Deathwalker, and this is where Collis makes the judgment call. And you see him kind of hesitate. I think he knows he doesn't necessarily need to go in with Deathwalker here. Let Deathwalker control Dardes. He's keeping his eyes on Jermaine and big man teams on the left side and staying near Wolfie. It's great positioning from Collis. I actually love it. Taunt, though, does not hit. That's a huge deal. That's kind of all Athena does in the fight is taunt. He misses it on Cheerio. So for the rest of the fight, he's just trying to help. Just Defender of Olympus Wolfie. Anything to keep Wolfie alive right now. Perfect Defender of Olympus call here to try and help mitigate some of this damage. But it's just not enough. Missing that taunt really hurts Collis. Even dashes, body blocks, but the poison's just too strong. He does help make sure that Cheerio ends up dying. I think Collis is kind of out of here, though, at this point of the fight, as he's used just about everything. Collis is already dead. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing Collis do anything particularly relevant again this fight. So let's see what Dardes chooses to do. Nika's the one that's checking. Dardes is right there with him. And Dardes has given up on this a little bit sooner, I think, than even Jermaine, who's still looking for spot shots. Dardes has kind of fallen back. Still no gift shield, it looks like, has come out from him either. I'm not 100% on that, but it looks like it has not yet been used. So Dardes kind of biding his time. I think he gap shields himself there, or does he just get taunted? I can't tell if that was just his like spam. No, there's the gap shield himself. Okay. So right now Dardes is not choosing to do anything. Dardes is the target. Great Cataclysm to immune the stun. That's just good smite. Now he's making Deathwalker the target after he overcommits. Big Man teams with great setup. Dardes is going to continue to push forward and help them get this kill. This is good play. Exactly what Dardes needs to do there. Cataclysm was a great response. Now Dardes doesn't really have anything, so he's kind of just walking through the fight, yada yada yada. Doesn't really have anything he can do. Tries to come in and body block. That's the best you can do here. He sticks with Jermaine and try and help him out, but he doesn't have anything off cooldown right now. Nothing Dardes can do. Now, a little frustrated, Dardes is going to blink Shockwave, but it's not going to matter. Her supports really weren't that big an impact here in this fight. They just didn't have a chance to do much. Last but not least, going to be our mages. And I really, really want to follow along with Wolfie because I feel like he kind of makes a big mistake early on in this fight. So we talked about Anika has to come face check, just kind of how life is, right? Wolfie goes Strife, and if the call in the comms is to all in Nika here, which it must be because Wolfie ults, then Wolfie's just flat out too late with this ult. Now Wolfie might be thinking Collis could taunt for him and set up, and Collis is like, I got taunt. But Big Man Ting sees a 2-man stun, shuts all that down. So that means Wolfie is not able to land this apple if the plan was for there to be a taunt to set up for it. If not, then Wolfie was just too late. So now Wolfie's got most of his stuff on cooldown. He used the Strife on Ruling Magic and the apple onto Dardes and Nika, who are both low but not dead. Now he's got the unfortunate problem of trying to deal with Cheerio. And I don't think Wolfie's positioning is bad here at all. They're thinking that Mouse are fully on the defensive, that all 5 of them are in front of them, and they're trying to aggress into Mouse. So I don't think anything's wrong with Wolfie's positioning here at all. Gotta just be aware though where Cheerio is. Just at this level, you just gotta be aware. He's still near Collis though, which is great, and he's in the backline trying to find some damage, but he has to deal with Cheerio. He's kind of juking in the erratic behavior. That's great to try and avoid getting killed. Now he's just dropping his damage at his feet. At this point, he's just kind of reacting to the fight. It isn't about positioning or decision making so much anymore. Just trying to live. Walks back toward the squad and spreads that poison like any good mid laner would. Hell yeah, Wolfie. Alright, so Wolfie kind of gets hard bodied here. I don't think this is a very good fight from Wolfie, if I'm being honest. Alright, let's keep our eyes on what Big Man Tings is doing, because Big Man Tings hits this nice stun that I think saves Nika's life. I think there might be a taunt here without that, and Nika gets to jump away. So Tings is perfectly positioned back here, right? Behind even Jermaine. He is separated from his supports, but that only just happened because of the damage from Rival. Let's see what he chooses to do positioning-wise. He stays back over here and recognizes where the aggression is. If the aggression's on Dardes, this is a safe spot to be. This is perfect. He can hit just about anybody from this range with his bombs, and he's still safe. Perfect positioning. Even has eyes on the assassin Ice. Perfect. Tings is biding his time, picking a target. And it looks like he picks Deathwalker. And that's the call. When Dardes outplays Deathwalker here, outplays, but he just reacts to the dazzling offensive correctly with the Cataclysm, they go all in to get rid of Deathwalker, who's overcommitted. Deathwalker's level 19, he's huge, 2-0-2, get him out of there. Tings does the right thing. Just comes up flame waves, even dashes. I don't like committing the dash, but if you're gonna commit the dash for more damage, which does help kill Deathwalker, so maybe it's the right thing to do, he dashes away from everyone else. That's the safe direction to dash. So still perfect from Big Man Tings, I would say so far. And still, way in the back of the fight, way back. Big Man Tings is not trying to rush forward whatsoever. Coming in, putting in good damage on the vote, trying to see if we can keep Nika alive, following along. Still perfect positioning from him. He's never come beyond this line right here in the fight. Even now, he's the furthest member back, and that's what Agni can do. Agni has such good range damage, such good control. Stay along this line, stay in the back, and do damage. Big Man Tings is almost full health, and he's had a tremendous impact. I think he might be the most impactful member of the fight, Big Man Tings. And he's taking no damage. Maybe Jermaine. Jermaine, I think, had a good fight here, too. He was able to get in good damage. But I think it might be Tings, in all honesty, that had the biggest impact in this fight, now that I look at it. Too bad his team still ends up losing it. And that's it. Tinks is on the way out. So yeah, that's that fight from Rival. So hopefully this kind of showed you what the idea is. For the solo laners, you're usually the main initiators. You want to harass the back line, and if someone else is doing the objective, you kind of got to be in the front to face tank it. Sad but true. Junglers, your job is to get to the back, try and find those carries. Ice did a great job finding Jermaine, as well as Cherry did a good job harassing Wolfie and taking him out. So they both each found a backliner and killed them here in this fight. That's your job. Mid laners, your job is to stay at a safe distance and get your burst off on the squishies if you can. If you have a situation like what happened here, where Deathwalker's way out of position and the call is to all in him, all in him. That's what Big Man Tings did perfectly. Wolfie, a little bit delayed on the call, instead had to worry about trying to keep himself alive, dies anyway and spreads the poison. Not ideal performance from Wolfie. Collis and Dardes, now your job is a little bit trickier. Do you want to initiate, do you want to support, or do you want to peel? In this situation, Dardes was pretty clear that he was more on peel than anything else. Dardes kind of didn't do much except not get hit by Dazzling Offensive in this fight and put down shields, which he shielded himself. So yeah, Dardes didn't really do that much this fight. Collis, on the other hand, tries to help save Wolfie, but misses the taunt. He had good positioning though, where he was, if they need him to go into taunt aggressively, he can, but he also stayed near Wolfie. So I really liked Collis' positioning. Then the Hunters do damage to who's in front of you. Jermaine did a good job of this, especially when he was left unchecked in the middle of this fight right around here. He was doing damage to everyone, but he Jermaines and dashes in, which I don't think he should do, and gets punished. Vote also stays safe, has a really good fight, goes up for the snipes. Once he lands and realizes that they're actually being aggressed into and losing, he rolls back and is able to get the kill on Anika. Loved Vote's positioning here in this fight. That is going to do it though for roll call here this week, checking out Rival versus Mouse. Any other team fights that you really liked and want to hear me talk about what everybody did specifically in the fights, I'd be happy to. Otherwise, I'm just going to go find some fights that I enjoyed and break those down for y'all again and tell you a little bit more about what you should be doing and what the pros did in those fights. But either way, that's going to do it. Make sure you check out my next video.